Here's a look at the schedule for the second-round matchup between the Boston Bruins and the Tampa Bay Lightning in the 2018 Stanley Cup Playoffs. Game 1, at Tampa on Saturday, April 28 at 3 p.m. on NBC Sports Game 2, at Tampa on Monday, April 30 at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Game 3, at Boston on Wednesday, May 2 at 7 p.m. ET. Game 4, at Boston on Friday, May 4 at 7 p.m. ET. Game 5, if necessary, at Tampa on Sunday, May 6, time TBD. Game 6, if necessary, at Boston on Tuesday, May 8, time TBD. Game 7, if necessary, at Tampa on Thursday, May 10, time TBD. Gold Star, the Bruins needed somebody to step up aside from their top trio of forwards, and Jake DeBrusk did exactly that in a huge Game 7 moment for the Black and Gold. DeBrusk scored 2 goals in the do-or-die playoff game, including a power play goal to open up the scoring, and the game-winning goal in the third period where he powered to the net through Jake Gardiner before sliding a shot through Frederik Andersen. DeBrusk finished with 5 goals and 7 points in the 7-game series, had 5 shots on net in Wednesday night's decisive Game 7, and was the best player on the ice for either team in the series' most important game. DeBrusk may still be a rookie in name, but he's graduated to formidable big-game player in these playoffs. Blacka, Jake Gardiner finished with a -5 for the game, and was brutally bad for the Maple Leafs. This was always the glaring weakness for the Leafs on their back end, and it finally showed in Game 7 with so many other moving parts flying around. Gardiner didn't block any shots and had a couple of giveaways in his 24:01 of ice time, and his play on the game-winning goal for DeBrusk was the perfect example of his rough night. DeBrusk got Gardiner all turned around as he attacked on the right wing with speed, and powered his way to the net while releasing a shot as the Leafs D-man couldn't eliminate him from the play. At the moment of truth, it was a young Bruins forward overpowering a veteran Leafs D-man for the game winner, and it's exactly how the series played out in the moments where the Bruins had the upper. And more Bruins, sloppy Bruins, need to get it together if they want to beat Lightning. Turning point clearly it was coming out for the third period where the Bruins have been big winners all season. The Bruins scored just 1:10 into the third period to tie up the game on a Torrey Krug bomb from the point, and they didn't allow a single shot on net in the first 10 minutes of the third period while protecting a goalie with a fragile level of confidence in his own game. Clearly the Bruins decided to put the clamps down at the right time, and eventually Jake DeBrusk busted through for the game winner while powering through the Leafs defense for his second score of the game. In all, the Bruins outshot the Leafs 11-8 in the third period, but truly controlled the final 20 minutes of play while scoring 4 unanswered goals against a stunned Leafs team. For the second straight Game 7 between these two teams, the third period was a house of horrors for Toronto. Honorable mention, Patrice Bergeron is the kind of player that lives for the Game 7 moments, and he did exactly that once again for the Bruins. It was Bergeron that finished with a goal and 3 points, a +2 in 1936 of ice time and won 14 of 22 face-offs while playing strong through injury. Bergeron scored his first goal of the series in the big Game 7 moment, and he finished with 4 shot attempts, 1 hit, 2 takeaways and a blocked shot in his night's work while filling up the box score like he always does. Even better, all 3 members of the Bruins' top line scored in the game after being held down in each of the 3 losses in the series, showing they were ready to show up and play big at the biggest moment in a Game 7. By the numbers, 9, the number of points for Torrey Krug at the end of the 7-game series after scoring a big game-tying third-period goal in Game 7. The 9 points leads the field of all NHL defensemen after the first round of the playoffs. Quote to note, Toronto did a good job with them. They got frustrated a few times, but they stuck with the program. Even the games they've been quiet in terms of stats on the sheet they've been generating. So, that was asked this morning, are they getting frustrated? I think there's always a certain level of that when you're used to getting production, and they got it back tonight. Bruce Cassidy, on his top line's ability to stick with the program, and come through in Game 7, even as they were getting frustrated later in the series. More Bruins. Here's a look at schedule for Bruins series with Lightning. The Bruins are in the second round against the Lightning. They were always supposed to be, still, they made the first round look alarmingly difficult. They were not supposed to be in a Game 7, heart-attack win against the Maple Leafs. They weren't supposed to need a third-period comeback to get out of the first round against an inferior opponent. This Bruins team, which blew away everyone's expectations in the regular season with 112 points, did not look like one of the league's 3 best teams in the first round. A lot of things did not go according to plan. Now the Bruins will need to see serious improvement in multiple areas with a real opponent awaiting them in Tampa. Among them, defense, goaltending, coaching and secondary scoring. More Bruins. Bruins rally in third period to beat Maple Leafs, advance in playoffs. Charlie McAvoy played better in Game 7, but his play throughout the series has done little to convince anyone he's all the way back from his knee injury. Torrey Krug scoring the game-tying in third period was a feel-good moment, as the veteran defenseman had gone from one of the best players on the ice in the first two games to extremely shaky as the series went on. The Bruins got through the first round with strong play from Zdeno Chara, Kevin Miller and Matt Grzelcyk. Chara's performance is a given as long as he's healthy. Heading into a series against the best defense in the NHL, they'll need much better play in their own zone throughout their six defensemen. On that note, the Bruins can't afford to have another lapse behind the bench like they did in Game 5 when Bruce Cassidy changed his defensive matchups in a move that gave Toronto 2 first-period goals. Cassidy was just so-so in the first round, as the good decisions, matching Chara against Austin Matthews throughout the first 4 games, returning his lineup to normal in Game 7, were met with plenty of questionable ones, playing Tommy Wingels on the second line in Game 6, taking Chara away from Matthews in Game 5. Tuukka Rask was not his usual postseason self in the first round. He struggled in Game 5 and did not look confident at all for much of Game 7. His struggles are only exaggerated locally for some reason, but allowing one bad goal in the playoffs is enough to sink his team. Rask allowed 3 or 4. Mike Babcock did his best to minimize them, but Patrice Bergeron's line with Brad Marchand and David Pastrnak were dynamite for much of the series. Pastrnak scored 7 damn goals. On the second line, Jake DeBrusk showed a Nathan Horton-esque rise to the occasion. Fourth line, overall, was its usual strong self. David Krejci bookended the series with great performances but was unremarkable in between. David Backes brought nothing 5-on-5. Rick Nash got better as the series went on, but had only 2 points all series. Danton Heinen was mediocre for 5 games before being scratched for Game 6 and scoring a huge goal in Game 7. Many of these issues did not exist throughout the season, when the Bruins pushed for the President's Trophy despite playing with several injuries. The regular season was impressive. The first round against the Maple Leafs, overall, was not, so now they head to Tampa, where a buzzsaw could await. The Bruins outplayed the Lightning in their regular season meetings, but Tampa is fresh off mowing through the Devils in 5 games, so celebrate Wednesday's win, but note that your nails aren't quite as long as they were when the postseason started. 1 round is in the books. If the Bruins don't get their act together, the next one will be their last. More Bruins. Tommy Heinsohn serves as Bruins honorary banner captain.